Okay, come on. There we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon on this beautiful Tuesday. Thank you for joining us on this platform, acknowledged as Project 365. Project 365, one and only Project 365. Well, I am Portia Wheatley. I am the founder and the president of a nonprofit organization acknowledged as Trophy of Life Incorporated, where we have the great opportunity to render hope, encouragement, and inspiration to individuals across the whole wide world. And we're grateful to God to have the opportunity to do that. I'm bringing in my co-host.
Hello, everyone. I am Takara Swan, and I am so happy to be here with you today. Today, we have a very beautiful, wonderful, vivacious guest who's beautiful on the inside and out, and creative. Let me add that one there. But before we bring her on and have her take the floor, I just want to remind all of you to please go to our YouTube page, like, share, subscribe, so that you can help bring hope, encouragement, and inspiration to everyone across the entire world.
To everyone. And before we release our guests to the platform, of course, I have something good for you to think on. Let's see, who is this from? Dr. Vicki Johnson. Let's see what she has to say on this day. There is a blessing for you today in the unexpected. But first, you must thank God for where you are. Then and only then will God release you into the next place of his glory. Things are not as bad as they seem. What you have focused on is the delusive appearance and attempt of the enemy of your soul to shake your faith. Like the woman with the issue of blood, when you get desperate enough to touch God, look at what you cannot see with the natural eye, God will bring about a change. See yourself in the next place of blessing, holy, healed, and happy. That's a word. Amen. Well, today, as Takira has stated, we have a wonderful woman who is going to share with us on the topic of your will to live. Many things have happened to women, just women, period. Black women, white women, Asian women, just women, period. And when you lose hope or when you lose the will to live, that's a challenge. That's a life challenge. And today we're going to hear from Miss Brittney Jones Banks. I like to put that Jones in there. She's Brittney Banks, but I like to put the Jones in there. I tell you what, this young lady has had some experiences that I have not even experienced, but she's gained power and strength. All that is needed to fuel her for her will to live. And not just that, she's not just living for herself, she's living for her beautiful daughters as well. So at this moment, Brittney Jones Banks, I would love to just release you to the floor so that you can share from your heart. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you guys for having me. And thank you for everyone who is on today watching. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So last year, in November, I found out that I was expecting my second daughter with my husband at the time. And of course, it was a shock. It wasn't anything planned. It pretty much was a huge shock, I would say. Wasn't planned at all. She kind of was just like, hey, I'm here kind of thing. So once I found out, and I, told my husband, he kind of brought some tension, of course. And I would say I found out in November, and then in December, he came to me and said that he wanted a divorce. So of course, I was very devastated, very very devastated, because number one, just we just found out we were expecting our second child together. And then number two, we were married. This is somebody that I expected to spend the rest of my life, with. This is someone that I thought my children, that would live in the house forever. My children would grow up, having their father in the home, etc. So I wasn't, expecting to get that kind of news. So I was, devastated. I tried to talk. We tried to, have several conversations about, well, how about we try counseling? How about we go another route? Like, what can we do so that it doesn't have to go down, the road of divorce? And, he was really, stuck on divorce. Divorce is what he wanted. He did not want to be with me anymore. He did not want to with a child. That's pretty much what it was. So from there, that was December. So fast forward on, I chose my child because that's my daughter. And I was not going to terminate my pregnancy. I wasn't going to do anything to harm her or anything like that. No. So I went through with my pregnancy, and, since he decided that he wanted a divorce, he pretty much left after that. So then shortly after, months go by, then we go into it's a pandemic. So I'm literally home. I'm home from work. I'm home with my oldest Michaela because, her daycare shut down. So I'm literally went through an entire pregnancy for 9 months just by myself, pretty much in the house for months because I had to work, from home for a whole year. So I went months to a year, just in the house, just myself and Michaela, just sad and lonely. And of course, as a mom, you don't want to pretty much show your emotion too much because you don't want your child to feel the tension, and you don't want them to, act like, Mom, what's wrong? Or why are you acting different? So I tried to fake the funk the whole time, act like everything okay. But of course, as a child, she knew something was up. She's asking, where's daddy? Why isn't daddy here anymore? Why is daddy? Like, where's he living? How come he's not with us? So come June, June is pretty much when we just completely separated. So he ended up getting his own place. I ended up moving into my own place. Mind you, my daughter was due in June 11th. So she just celebrated her first birthday. So June 11th, I was scheduled to have a C-section. And literally 2 weeks before I had the baby, I had to move. So I literally had to pack up a whole house and just move into an apartment with myself and Michaela, and then now this, the new baby. And that and alone was a lot of stress because, for one, I had the stress of now possibly, getting a divorce or being separated from my husband or my children's father, having to move, and which that was a process in itself because you had to, apply for places, waiting for places again. And then we're still in the middle of a pandemic. So people are getting back slow. And I know I have to get out of this house that we're living. So that was stressful on top of carrying a child. I'm carrying the baby, making sure I'm going to my doctor's appointments, making sure I'm still eating, properly and eating, the right meals so that she gets the nourishment she needs. Making sure I'm not stressing too much so I don't go into early labor or, anything. So I had to try to stay calm throughout the whole time, but inside, literally, I was hurting, because that's devastating news to find out that you're, getting divorced. So June, my daughter comes, and it was pretty much just me raising two children by myself, which is something that I would have never, ever, ever expected. I did not think that I would end up being a single mother. That was not anything I had planned for my life. Like, I always knew I, probably get married, but I didn't, have in my mind that I would be a single mother. So that in itself was kind of a blow too, because I'm just like, darn, I have two kids, and now I'm a single mom. And being a single mom, kudos to all the single moms in the world, because it is hard, hard, hard work. Like, I don't even know. Some days I don't even know how I do it some days because it's really, really hard. So I'm raising a 5-year-old and then a newborn, and then still trying to go through the emotions of going through a divorce. So by November, I get served divorce papers. I signed the papers because I'm just like, if this is what you really want, I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to give you that divorce, and I'm just going to move on, with my life. So I tried to go through all of the emotions on my own. And then I got to the point where it's just like, I can't do this on my own. I can't do this by myself. Like, I don't have many people to talk to about it because number one, my friends, a lot of my friends, I'm the only one out of my group of friends who has children and then who've been married. So they can't quite relate to what I'm going on and understand, what's going on. Like a breakup is one thing, but a divorce is a totally different thing. So I didn't really have too many people to talk to. And then I went through a stage of embarrassment. Like I didn't want to tell people that I was divorced or going through a divorce because it was embarrassing to me. Because number one, I've always been the type of person where um I'm not like a perfectionist or anything, but I always was like the perfect Patty. Like Brittney has to do this right, and Brittney has to get married, and Brittney has to, having children out of wedlock. Like, oh my God, granted, my first child is out of wedlock, but I just always lived that perfect life. Like Brittney always was on honor roll. Brittney went to college. Brittney got a bachelor's degree. Like it always had that. I'm going to do everything the right way, the perfect way. So then to find out that I was getting divorced and then I got divorced, that was embarrassing. That was really embarrassing for me because that's not the life I wanted to live. Like being a single mother, nothing wrong with being a single mom, but that's just not, to me, it was embarrassing because I was the person who I was married. So I'm like, now I'm bringing a child into a situation, like, it's crazy. So I went through the stage of embarrassment and then I realized that I needed a therapist because I was, really, really sad. It was some days where if it wasn't for my children, literally, I don't even know where I would be. And God, of course. But I say my children first because if it wasn't for me having to be a mom, having to get out of bed, having to cook dinner, having to make bottles, having to take them to school, I probably, honestly, I'd probably be dead. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't think I would have killed myself, but I probably would have um, been so stressed, so depressed that I would have just let myself just wilted away to the point where I just got sick and I probably would have died. So I was like, I need a therapist. I need somebody to talk to. So I found a therapist. It didn't really work out with her. And that's one suggestion I would make to people like when seeking a therapist, make sure you find somebody who's really good for you. Try them out a couple times, couple people, because some therapists are just not good. So I tried out this new therapist. And she pretty much, her advice was just stay busy, Brittney. Stay busy. That's how you get over it. And I'm just like, I'm already busy. I'm a mother. I have a business. I'm already business, but that busy. But that's not helping me. What happens when it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm in the room by myself and I'm just like feeling sad and lonely? So I found a new therapist and she literally is amazing. I still see her. She's amazing. And she basically told me, like, Brittney, you're suffering with depression. And I would have never known I was depressed because I thought what I was doing and how I was acting was normal. Like the fact that I was literally, it'd be 70 degrees and I'm outside in a winter coat, to me, that felt normal at the time. Like I was literally, like I was doing stuff that it felt normal, but it wasn't normal. It's just because I was so depressed and so caught up in my situation that to me, it didn't seem abnormal for me to act the way I was, or for me to literally walk out of the house in my pajamas, literally go a day without a shower. And I'm being honest, like this is things that I was doing. Like I was working from home. So I'm just like, what the heck? Nobody knows that I didn't take a shower today, or I'm just throwing on my coat. I'm taking the kids to school in my pajamas. Who cares? Nobody can see me under this coat. But literally I was masking or trying to mask how I was feeling on the inside. So I thought by covering it up on the outside, like wearing a winter coat in the 7-degree weather, then nobody would really see what I was experiencing on the, on the inside. And she told me, like, Brittney, you're suffering from depression. And it wasn't like a serious, she was like acute depression. So I don't need medication or anything like that. But she was like, Brittney, you're depressed. You pretty much need to, so we, going through the process of the therapy, and she was like, you need to find out a way to get back to yourself. Like, what are things that Brittney likes? What is things that Brittney was doing prior to kids, prior to marriage, whatever. So I was saying one thing about me, like before kids, before marriage, I was the type of person, I always kept my hair done. I always kept my nails done. I always had nice clothes. Like I always looked good. But then it got to the point where who cares if my hair was done? Who cares if my nails were done? Who cares if I bought clothes for myself? I don't care what I look like at all. Like, and it really did get to that point where it's like, I don't care what I look like. And I might still have those days, I'm gonna be honest. I don't care what I look like as long as my kids are dressed, whatever. But she had to tell me, like, Brittney, that's depression. And you have to like pull yourself out of that. So it was lots of days where I was just like, God, why am I going through this? Like, why am I the person that is going through a divorce? And I'm only 31 years old. Like, I'll be 32 in 2, 3 weeks. But I'm like, I'm only 31 years old and I'm going through a divorce. Like, that is horrible. Like, to me, like, you hear divorce with people that's been married for 30, 40 years, not people who've been, like, it's very, very rare that you hear somebody who's going through a divorce after like 3, 4 years of marriage and then so young. So that was another thing I had to accept. Like, I had to accept, like, Brittney, it's okay. It's okay that you're going through a divorce. Like, people go through divorces, life goes on, you move on. Um, but it's just so many emotions that came along with a divorce and having a child and having to move. It just was a lot for me, and it just took a toll over my whole mental. It took a toll on my health. It took a toll on how I was feeling, everything. And literally, if it wasn't for my children, I forgot, I really don't know where I would be. I really don't know, because they literally are the reason, and they give me the fuel literally to keep going every single day, because I have no choice but to, because I have them. Like, if they weren't here, I don't know. I probably would be curled up in a corner somewhere. And I literally have those days where I'm just like, oh my God, like, I just don't know, what I'm doing. And I say all the time, like, I don't know how I'm able to still keep pushing through and to keep fighting and to still keep going on each day. It's literally because of God and my children and praying and therapy and just knowing that, Brittany, you can do it. You can pull yourself through. And it literally was I shared my testimony on, I guess it was New Year's Day. I posted my testimony on Facebook because it got to the point where I was so embarrassed of the situation that it literally was overwhelming me. That I was trying to hide the fact that I was the worst. And people kind of knew we were separated, but they didn't know what was going on. But because I was so embarrassed by it, it literally was overwhelming me and haunting me, because I literally was trying to hide the fact that I was going through this. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to set myself free, and I'm just going to let people know this is what it is. This is what I'm going through, but I'm overcoming it. I'm okay. My children are okay, and everything's going to be okay. And once I did that, I literally felt free. Like, I felt like a huge weight was lifted off me, because I didn't realize how me trying to hide what was going on in my life was literally taking over me. And once I did that, I felt free, and I literally was flooded with people were messaging me on Facebook and Instagram, like, Brittany, you really touched my life. Like, I would have never known you were going through that, because you still were putting a smile on your face. You still were keeping it moving. You still were doing your events and showing up and doing what you had to do. And I was just like, well, thank you, God, because my life is literally a living testimony of, what God could do if you keep him first and pray, and, you do what you need to do. Therapy, like, therapy literally works if you try it. Like, our community of, Black people, Hispanics, everybody, we feel like, therapy is only for people who are crazy or mental, but therapy really, really works if you try it. And I'm just really thankful, because I do still have my moments. And like my therapist did say, like, Brittany, you're grieving. So it's a process. I have my moments where sometimes I'm angry. Like, why is this happening to me? Like, I have my days when I'm happy. I have my days when I'm sad, but I don't let myself, stay in those, moments. I don't let myself sit there and be depressed and for days and days on. No, I still get up, I keep it moving. And I do what I gotta do, because at the end of the day, I have two girls who are looking up to me. And if I let myself drift away or fall, or just completely just let myself go, they're not gonna have anyone. Granted, they have grandparents, they have their father, but at the end of the day, it's their mother who was there at the end of the day, and who's going to take care of them and nourish them and make sure they have what they need. So I'm thankful to God, because like, my children have had everything they needed. We haven't had any lack. Like, our rent is always paid, our refrigerator is full, our children are always well taken care of. They have clothes on their back. So I'm thankful and I'm grateful that, I've been able to pull through and make it through, despite of, you know, what I've been going through, because it was a lot. Like, this year has been very, very hard. Because, me, tried, I think I've been the very mature person out of, the divorce, but you can't always, it's not always like that with the other party. Like, when you're going through divorce, like, there's always one person who might not take it too well, or who might be the nasty individual. So, it's been hard to try to co-parent and, go through the process, but I'm thankful that I've been able to be the mother that I'm supposed to be and be the woman of God that I am and to be a role model and the mother that my children can look up to and one day say, like, my mom made it through. Like, my mom has been taking care of us and my mom makes sure we have everything they need. And if the other person doesn't do anything, they know mom, does what needs to be done. So I'm thankful that I'm even able to stand here and talk about it today because, last year there was a time where I was like, I don't even know how I'm going to make it out of bed. I don't know how I'm going to get these kids to school. I don't know how I'm going to cook dinner. But like I've literally been able to make it through and still run a successful business at that. Like I have a very successful business that's literally booming. Like, so I'm thankful and I'm grateful. Like I said, every day's a process. Every day's not a good day. So I'll be lying if I say every day's a good day. Cause like I had a morning this morning where I'm just like, oh, I don't know. But every day's not a good day. There are some days where I'm angry and I'm ready to scream and cry and everything like that. But I don't let myself stay there. I pull myself up and I keep it moving. And that's pretty much how it's been this past year. And I'm grateful to God because some people I could have died if I let myself. I could have killed myself if I let thoughts hinder and linger and things like that. Granted, that's not something I want to live. I don't want to die. But if I let myself sit in a depressed state, then I could have been dead. So I'm grateful and I'm thankful to God that I'm still here to share this moment, and that my children have somebody to look up to. They can say that their mother is here and that their mother is fighting for them because I'm literally fighting each day for them. Everything that I do, and even if it's a situation where it's one day where it's just like I want to go over there and knock his head off, but I have to think about my kids because if I do that, I can end up in jail. So it's everything. I always have to keep my children first, keep God first, and that's how I pretty much been able to pull through. And I'm just thankful that I'm here. I really am.
I
Because
am
it could go,
thankful that you're
go
here too.
another day, another way. Me too. I
Thank
really,
you
really
so much,
do. No
Brittany.
problem.
Thank you. And all the
No problem.
years that I've known you, I, this has just blessed my soul. It's just
Mhm,
blessed my soul to see, where you've grown, where you come from,
mhm.
what you were in. I only had bits and pieces, but I tell you what, this has been a blessing. If it's been a blessing to me, I know it has been a blessing to many other women,
Yes.
mothers, single mothers, those that have gone, no matter what age, those that have gone through a divorce. It's
Mhm,
amazing how God can take your pain and
mhm.
turn it into purpose. Now,
Yes.
and I can imagine when you did that post,
Mm,
the post that you did, and how
mhm.
it felt like a burden had lifted because you were
Right.
doing what God wanted you to do, and then
Right.
all of that actually led to this moment for you to share
Mhm.
on another platform. So you
Right.
are taking your message from just Delaware to and not just Maryland, but across the country. And we're grateful to God for that. We're so grateful to God because you're
Right.
still standing strong.
I am.
You're
I am.
still standing strong. I tell you
Mhm.
what, when you talked about you're going through and you always look good, you sure did. I'm like, she went through what? When? You sure
Mhm.
did not allow that. It's not, and it wasn't even actually faking the funk. It was actually where you did what you had to do to get through
Right.
that day, to get through that moment. So we're grateful
Right.
to God. You've encouraged, you're strengthened, and that
Mhm.
therapy piece. Oh yeah, yeah. And I pray that our culture know now, over the years, they know now that therapy is fine.
Right.
When you
It is.
find the right therapist, when you
Mhm.
find the right one, it will do wonders for you, especially if you're by yourself, you're alone, you live alone, or you're single. No, what the situation is, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Find the right one. Of course, God is always first in your life. So
Right.
we're grateful to God for that. It's amazing. You've
It
blessed the
is.
people. And
Mhm.
look, I can see Linda Jones now with her tambourine somewhere in the house.
Yes.
I
Oh,
love
for
you,
sure.
Linda. Can you see her, Takira? Linda Jones with the tambourine, listening to Brittney now.
Yes, I can. And she's definitely in our comments. So I know she's very yes. So you have to check out our comments when you get a chance. There's a lot in there giving you, your accolades. And honestly, can I just be honest with you? Okay, because we've known each other for a while. I really am so proud of you. Like I'm so serious. I'm so proud of you. One, like Miss Portia said, nobody would have ever known you were going through anything that you were going through, because you really held yourself together so well. And can we just touch on that booming business piece? Because listen, you can put your information in the chat if you want to. Follow her Instagram, her business page. She has a really, really great events business, and I just encourage everyone to support, especially since the world's opening back up now. Take advantage of that. But I just want to commend you for being such a strong woman. You are so right. That's a lot to have to go through at such a young age. And if anyone can take from this, Brittney, she went through a lot and she had her moments. That's the key. You have to have those moments. You have to actually go through those emotions so that you can heal from it. Because once you rip off the mask, then that's when the healing can begin and you can start being yourself. And I think one thing that we all learn when you start to get a little older and grow up is that, you really can't control anybody else but yourself. So
that's true.
Yes. So you taking control of your situation and your life and still being an amazing mom to your girls, despite of what anything else or anyone else has to say or do, that is very commendable right there. And that's something I think people really don't appreciate or commend quite often, because unfortunately a lot of times, moms do have to be single moms, but like you said, now that it's really, really hard. Listen, I don't have any kids, but watching single mothers, I'm like, oh Lord, give them strength, because I know it has to be hard.
I never realized how strong I was until I was put into this situation. Seriously.
Yes, I'm telling you. And you know what? And you're even stronger than you think that you are right now. I know you are. And another thing that we can just take from you as an example of you getting back to yourself, guys, no matter what you're going through, don't forget just to go back to yourself, be yourself. You feel like, you know what, I'm not feeling well, I'm not, you took that therapy piece and you did the work. Doing the work is not easy. It's not always pretty, but I'm telling you, beauty comes out at the end. And you've always been beautiful inside and out in my mind. But I'm telling you, even now, like now God can take this, like she said, your pain and make it beauty. And now it's just time for you to blossom and flourish even more than you already have in the past. So I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
Guys, this is such a great example. I'm telling you, if you're going through anything like this, if Brittney can do it, you can do it too. Okay. Draw on that strength from your inner circle, from God, and just hang in there, because it will get better. So look, congratulations on a beautiful road ahead. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Definitely, I believe it will. Absolutely. And before we close, if you would just take a moment, gather your thoughts and speak a word or two to single parents. Don't give up, whatever you have to say to them, and we will close on those statements.
Okay, so single parents, and not even just mothers, there are single fathers out there. It gets really, really hard. We all know how hard it is, but just hang on in there. Help is out there, whether it's from family, friends, it's hiring nannies. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And then one thing I will say is I just recently paid for laundry service, and that literally was the best experience for me that I could have ever done, because literally they folded the clothes, they dried the clothes, they sorted them, like washed them, everything. And that took a weight off of me, because that was something I didn't have to do. So there's help out there, whether it's laundry service, where there's hiring a nanny, where there's mothers, grandmothers, whatever, relying people for help. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I'm a type of person, I don't like to ask for help because I like to do things on my own. But I do have to realize that some days it's okay to ask for help. Don't try to handle everything on your own. But hang on in there, be strong. It's not easy, but you'll get through it. And be encouraged. Like, you'll get through it. Everything will be okay. And in due time, and you'll reap all the rewards that you're going to.
Oh,
So
that is good. You
be
reap those
blessed.
rewards.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so very much. God willing,
Thank
we
you.
will see you on tomorrow.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.